Ooh, look at that.
They
Oh,
updated their,
oh, no.
How do we get rid of that box?
fancy.
Hit continue.
oh wait, which
Okay.
box?
Got
Is
it.
there a box?
Yeah.
Continue.
Okay.
Trevor, is there a time limit that we're looking at on this?
Stacy, are you trying to make this harder?
No, not really.
You know what? I think it makes it easier. I really do. I think it makes it easier because I have to move and I can't go back.
Okay.
So, I
But
mean,
that's
should we-
just,
the question is, should we start with where we would normally start, which is the, the keystone? I
Oh,
think
I thought
that might
I'd-
be,
I was
I think
gonna
that might be wise. It goes like, the brow ridge. It could be the fold. It could be the brow ridge. Down into the nose. There's a little spiral for the nostril. And then it looks like he's got, have you ever seen people that have like cleft noses?
Yeah.
My cousin actually has that.
yeah.
And it's
It
like,
looks
because the
like
one
that.
piece of cartilage meets the other piece of cartilage, and then there's a little cleft in there. So maybe that's what it is.
Almost looks like a cleft lip too.
It does look a little like the cleft lip.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. Maybe that's a beard, a mustache, or a little bit of a goatee, perhaps.
I thought this was a woman.
I don't think it's a woman.
I don't think so.
No.
But the hat, look at the hat.
That's what threw me, but I guess,
I think it's a picador.
yeah, okay, that makes,
Oh,
yeah.
Oh.
So I'd have
Or,
to,
or
we have to
today,
look
we
at
could say
we have
it's
to
an
look at some of the other books.
LGBTQ, I don't know the right word.
What?
Oh, I don't know all the
I
initials.
said, in today's world, we could call it we could say that it is not a he nor she, her, it's
they.
they. Thank
They.
you.
That's
Or
that's,
just call her Pat.
that's fine with me.
And I'm not trying to
political.
be funny. It could be,
I think it's like limited intel. Hold
Well,
on.
it's done very well. I like it.
Well, it's a
yeah,
Picasso.
I do too.
It is what it is. Is there enough room on there?
Yeah. Oh, for you.
Yeah, it's
Well,
so
I don't think
limited.
I can.
Can't you move it over to the left?
Maybe, and then I'll just lose a little bit of the hat.
Yeah, that's
and
okay.
I can also make them smaller too, or make them smaller.
Right.
Okay, here we go.
Uh-oh.
I don't know if we should go. Are we gonna stick together? Or are we gonna do our own thing?
It's
I'm
fun.
following
I'm gonna
you.
pretend that everyone's gonna stick with me
Yeah.
for like
Yes.
the video's sake.
Yes.
Okay. So
Yeah.
my first exciting mark is going to be, it's going to anchor the entire thing. So it's going to be this brow ridge, which gives you the brow, and then it transitions into the keystone. And then in classic Picasso, like he really does know the anatomy. And what I thought was a continuous line is not a continuous line. So there's the brow ridge that comes, there's a brow ridge, which is the first line. Then it's the keystone into the bridge of the nose. I remember like the widest part of the bridge of the nose is where the bone meets with the cartilage, and he stops it there. Then it's like he almost makes too much, he almost goes too far with the rest of the nose. Like the line is almost too much, and he like loses control around the underside of the nose. But I mean, he also doesn't really care because he's Picasso. Okay, so here we go.
He doesn't-
The brow
erase
ridge
it.
is going to be like a upside down, Nike symbol. So that's the actual
Oh, we're doing it.
brow. Yeah, we're doing it. And then we're going to link that line up to angle at the curve of the keystone, and then it's going to end at the widest part of the bridge of the nose. Ooh, there it goes. And I was going to do that whole thing in once, but that's not how he did it. So then I'm going to come down. I'm going to do a reverse spiral, do the cleft of the nostril, which is going to be like a W.
Yeah.
And then the second W, hairpin turns into the nostril flare. And the nostril flare, interestingly, ends in an arrow. So that's kind of wild. So follow me here. I'm going to go from the cartilage of the nose, because the bone ends. So it's the cartilage of the nose, spiral into what is, I think, and some kind of indication of a nostril hole. Nostril hole, W of the cleft, the hairpin turn, which could be the other nostril, And then it ends in a kind of like a devil tail arrow. Okay. It's going to come down, spiral the nostril, W of the cleft chin, cleft nose, hairpin turn at the other nostril, and it's going to spiral up into an arrow for the nose. Whew. And that's it. I just did it. We could probably draw it like 5 times. He may have done it 5 times. All right, so then I think what he did was probably went from the nose, because this is like the normal order of operations, which we're all familiar with. You get the philtrum, the septum into the philtrum, and then I think he gives us this space where the lips are touching, and I think he loses it because he's almost going a little too fast. So the philtrum is going to be a little hook shape there, and then the lips are really squiggly. So it looks like it's another W, and it does end into a teardrop corner of the mouth. So the corner of the mouth comes up, and then we get a W, and then it squiggles into the end. And I'm just going to put an actual teardrop in there. And if you look closely, and I feel bad that you guys didn't get to see this closer, but there is a little flick of the pen stroke that creates that corner of the mouth. Now, I wonder if he's got like a toothpick in his mouth, or what do you think that is? I'm just gonna say that.
Where are you?
I'm looking at this little bean shape that's underneath the. I mean, if you look at the
I
chin,
thought that was his lower lip.
Yeah.
you thought that was his lower lip?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Well,
I just
I
went
mean,
to
on
grab
closer,
an eraser.
closer examination, he definitely. There's no way that this could be a hairless chin. I feel like the way that the S curves are happening and the way that it comes to a point and then it goes up on either side, I think it is a beard. So for all of you that were,
Looks to me like he has a mustache and a beard.
whoa, okay, great. I'm so glad you mentioned that. So this line, which is the profile of the face, that does, like, when you think about mustaches, they have a top plane, then they have a front plane, and then they go under. And that's how he's expressing the silhouette of the face. Like, it's almost like a protruding upper lip. Top plane, front plane, under plane into the mouth. That's a good one. I think you might be right. And not that like upper lips don't do that. I've seen upper lips do that. And there's nothing that indicates hair either. It would just be a very full upper lip. And the distance between the nose and the mouth and the chin are all infinite varieties of variation. Sometimes the upper lip can like touch the bottom of the nose. Sometimes you can have 3 inches between the Tom Brokaw. Huge upper lip. All right.
That's
Next
code
one.
for PRs.
We're gonna go into. I'm gonna zoom out a little bit more. I'm gonna do the eyes. I think that was a mistake that we didn't do the eyes yet. We got nose, mouth without any eyes. There's a backwards E. And I think that represents the fold, the upper eyelid, and then the pupil. So it ends with a black dot. And that is the beady eyes of the sun, a very sunny, the face of the eyes of a person who's in the sun, meaning the pupils are very small. I'm going to zoom in too so you guys can see it.
Excuse me.
I should have sent this over. So we get the inside of the keystone, which is basically the if I were to draw this extra line in here, you have the front of the keystone and then the side of the keystone. So this angle here is basically where the bone meets the where the bone of the eye socket ends, and you're getting into the eye cavity. So it comes up around this brow ridge, back under into the fold, and then into the upper eyelid, and then a circle, which, you know, who knows? That could just be the shape of the sclera, and then the eyeball. So you saw that. I'm going to zoom out. Inside of the eye socket, across possibly the brow ridge, circling back into the fold, circling back into the upper eyelid, a spiral indicating the sclera, and then it's going to finish off with a dot for the pupil. I mean, that's really good. So it's also, it's like further proving, not proving, but just like the thing that I drive home all the time is that every mark has a left brain association. So every right brain mark, which is, you know, a vertical, horizontal, a hairpin turn, and the squiggle, that's all right brain thinking. A dot is a right brain, but the fact that the left brain has a association that can be nameable and is visible and is real, you know, kind of speaks to Picasso's facility here.
I might get knocked off for a couple minutes because Tom has to reset the router, but I'll be back if
Okay.
I get knocked off. Okay.
I like this little lower lip thing, the lower lip, and I'm gonna say it's the lower lip, but what if it was like his? I wonder what they these guys, what they would have in their mouth if they had like toothpicks. If it was a toothpick, I feel like it would look like it would be more intentionally like a toothpick.
I think it's like he's got an underbite.
Yeah, that's what
Yeah.
it feels like to me.
Well, why would that hang off so hard? I mean, that could be.
The underbite.
Have you ever seen people bite on their? You can bite on your lower lip, and like the hair that is, you know, the flavor saver, like.
Oh,
stick-
yeah, sure. Yeah, could be that too.
I mean, I'm just thinking through.
It-
So there's that orb, and then the goatee is actually really symmetrical. So there's going to have a left side, then it spirals into the tip of the goatee, and it comes up the other side, and then balances out. So it is a symmetrical operation. So here's the spiral, and here's the left side of the goatee. Here's the center of the goatee, and then here's the right side of the goatee. And there's a little line that like heads up into the jaw ridge. So the chin comes under, and whether it's an actual chin or whether it's the hair on the chin, it meets the jawline.
Yeah.
And there's that little, like if I zoom in on it, you can see there's that little flick that brings you up, and then there's a suggested elbow. You know, the elbow, the jaw, where the angled plane, and it heads up to the ear. It's interesting.
I've never heard I've never heard that term, the elbow of the jaw. That's really cool.
Yeah, it's just a big. It's like I gotta figure out what it's actually called. Like a mandible comes into mind, but I don't know if that's true. I think we could do I'm gonna give him a much smaller cap so it fits on. So here's the well, I guess we should gotta do eyebrows. Forehead into the squiggle of the eyebrow here. It looks like the brow could be even flexed. So there's like a wrinkle and then a spiral into that upper eyebrow. My guy looks not as nice. My guy looks a little more seedy. I'll give him this little hat.
My guy looks evil. It really does.
So the brim of the hat in the front is less important, but I do kind of have to get something similar to the same scale of the hat on the other side. Or else the distance. We went to the museum yesterday with my interns, and we were looking at these medieval sculptures and Renaissance sculptures, and the ears were really close. You know, it was like the corner of the eye, and then you get the cheek, the masseter, and then you get the sideburns, and then the ear. And in all of the Egyptian sculptures, the ears were really far back. Now they looked fantastic from the front, but from the side, it was was hugely separated, and Picasso's ear does feel a little bit close. You know, imagine you have this would be the, you know, the sausage, and then you have the temple, and you'd have the, you know, a little passage into the sideburns, and then you have a little space between the sideburns and the ear. So he's squeezing the ear in here, just so we realize that. And I really question, you know, I really question his the expression of this ear. I wonder if this is the inside of the, he's drawing the inside of the helix and then abandon and like allowing outside of the helix to be a suggestion. Let me zoom in on that just so we can talk about the ear a little bit. So there is going to be a helix. And that helix kind of it wiggles down into the ear lobe, and then this little triangle here, that is the suggestion of the space behind the tragus. So if I were to draw a tragus, it would be this part, and then that ear canal is going to be above that. Now I think he's drawing the inside of the helix, and that there's a suggestion of the outside of the helix here. So now I don't know how true that is, or whether he was just like saying, you know, whatever, I got to get something for the ear. But you can just run a, you know, the parallel to where the tragus would be, the corner of the eye to the tragus. It's a little bit lower, but I think he is using that point in his own mind to, you know, anchor where he places the ear. So I'm going to use that little device of that arrow, and then I'm thinking the inside of the helix, and that's going to transition into the ear lobe, and then back up. I did the hat first, and I think he did too. And so this is where we're going to get the hair of the back, the hair from the back of the skull, and that's going to turn into the bun. And then you have this turbulent braid that passes behind, and then the line in front of that is going to be like the decorative shoulder pads. I think, and we can talk about it. I think that this is the golden trim on the, you know, almost like the sailor, like the sailor lining. Oh God, hold on. Let me make sure Steph's not trying to get. Is Steph still here? She did get bumped off. All right, I'm gonna keep looking. Oh, here she is. Okay, good. I'll just turn off the. Yeah. So as I spiral these S curves back down, sorry, I wish I could fit on here a little bit better. Maybe I just zoom out a little bit. I know it's gonna be hard to see, but this is the braid leading into the edge of the shoulder into the collar, pit of the neck, far side of the chest, tassels down the middle, and then the angle of the pectoral right above the armpit.
Trevor,
Mm-hmm.
did you say we can't go over a mark? I mean, I know you spoke.
No, there's
about
no rules.
racing.
There's no rules.
Okay.
I was just
Okay. Well, I like your rules, or your. Never mind.
So I'm gonna there's mine, and I don't know why mine looks a little weird. I mean,
I
whatever.
think we all have weird looking ones.
Yeah, I mean, it's a weird drawing. I mean, it's just a weird drawing.
Yeah, I'm
But
finished.
That's
my
how I
drawing.
did it.
I'm done.
I just want you guys to be able to see. I wanted to zoom in as close as I could with y'all's, just because I didn't send this one.
Can you tell me when you're set.
I'm set.
Can you, Trevor, move your drawing so that it's
Oh,
centered?
you want to see it? Okay.
I do. Thank you. And move it a little to your right, if you will,
Using my,
so that I just see yours.
Oh, you don't
and I'm
want to see
not
them
seeing
together?
some. I got that shot. Thank you.
Oh, that's
Thank
fun.
you. Great.
It completes the hat.
Oh, let's do it again. Are you set?
Yeah. I don't.
Are you sure?
I don't think I want to. I don't think I want to attach my name to this drawing. I don't know how it reflects.
I like it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Can I see the original one more time?
Yeah, yeah. Sorry.
I have one squiggle left. I gotta finish it.
There it goes.
This was fun. I love this exercise.
I'm
Yep.
glad. I'm
Same.
into it too.
Good to be pushed out of our comfort zone.
Yeah,
Right.
right.
Now can we go back to our comfort zone?
Yeah.
Oh, where's your
Back to the
sense of
comfort zone.
adventure?
Let's see. How are we gonna do this one? We'll just do piece by piece.
Can I take some pics of this? Oh, ladies,
We really want to.
Sure.
There you go.
Grace. And if you can hold that, yes, yes.
Nice.
Ooh.
That looks great.
nice.
That
Okay.
looks great. Yeah,
Here's mine.
thank you. Rini, hold that nice and still.
Can you see it?
Can barely
Well,
see it,
did you
Rini.
draw that really, really light?
Yeah, it's light, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. It doesn't really read. Can you send that to Trevor? Maybe that'll be
Sure.
the way to see it.
Okay.
Thank
Now,
you.
they look like a lady.
I know. I kind of thought that from the beginning. The hat looks like a lady.
Yeah. Adele, Stephanie,
Yeah,
Okay.
my
So I-
proportions are wrong. The nose is way too long.
okay, if you'll keep that nice and still.
Yeah, his nose is
Thank
hanging
you.
down.
Hold on, let me stop the share. I think I was trying to
Thank
send you guys
you.
a new photo.
Now that
Really
looks like a
cool,
bearded
all
lady.
the
as well.
different marks. Very
Adele,
cool.
Adele, will you hold yours up one more time?
I'm not sure I really want to.
I know. Well, I trust me. I feel the same
I
way.
like it.
Let me pin it.
Yeah, I do
Oh,
too.
that's really good. No, that's looks
Yeah.
great.
The nose just got too
Yeah.
long, and so the proportions are,
Yeah, but
Sorry, I'm laughing, but it
Your
is
long
funny.
isn't it?
your long nose
Great.
makes it
It's
look
like a
a
Muppet.
Are you done?
I'm done.
Oh,
Yeah.
Muppet.
Rini, can I see yours? I was looking at this other thing.
Actually, I just texted it to you because
Oh,
it's hard to see it. I didn't push it.
Yeah, I couldn't
okay.
read
I
it.
think
It was
it's.
too
I
light.
think these are. I think these are like. These are could be liberate. I mean, there's something about like being really committed about a singular
Yeah,
mark.
I love it.
Yeah. I think it's not something that I teach very
I
often.
really enjoyed it.
Good.
There's
You were
a
able to do
freedom,
it?
a looseness.
Let's
that
try
I-
to see Reni's again, now that we have a bigger frame.
Really?
I can show.
Yeah, just try one more time.
Oh,
Yeah, I can't.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Stacy, I sent
very
a text.
faint.
Okay.
Okay, great.
All I see are pupils.
Oh my gosh. Let me see. Let me see if I can I
think
do-
this
Oh my gosh. This is terrific.
Oh,
That's
Yeah.
mine.
oh, that's
Yeah.
That's great.
Oh,
That's
yes.
beautiful.
Those are better.
Very nice.
Yes. You can see it. It's great.
I
But
mean,
it does look like a woman.
But it looks like the
a bearded
original.
woman.
too. Stephanie, were you able to? Or Stephanie, were
Yeah.
you
Are you
able to
kidding?
do
Yeah.
it?
He's like, he
Yeah.
probably did 3.
Can we see yours?
Yeah, I did it with my eyes shut.
Nice.
Oh, cool.
A little bit closer to you,
Okay.
Stephanie. And freeze. Did you
Wow.
really do the exercise? Eyes
No,
closed?
I'm teasing.
Well,
Remember how that used to be
Blind.
like an art class thing, right? Where you
Yeah,
do something with
blind-
your eyes.
yeah, yeah,
Blind
Yeah.
contours.
Yeah.
yeah.
They still teach it at Micah. People love it.
I think
Did
it's
we
It
see
great.
is,
Stacy?
it is a fun and helpful exercise.
Oh, yeah, Stacy, did you do
I made an attempt.
Let
it?
me,
Let's see.
Yeah,
One eye closed.
right.
Oh, good.
Oh, good.
that's cool.
Eyes.
You gave
Right?
him, you gave him more eyes. You gave him better pupils.
Indeed.
Oh, it's good
That
that
was
we can
fun.
laugh, right?
That was-
Yeah.
Yeah.
if you guys
Thank
want
you,
to,
Trevor. You
Hey, you're
needed a good
welcome.
laugh.
I know.
Yes.
I want to. I should show you some more of these pictures because they're really beautiful. I'm gonna try and stabilize my camera here. Let's see if.
Oh, this is so weird. Trevor, I have all of the images in your camera. Oh my
Yeah.
God, I'm feeling like a voyeur.
What do you mean?
Wow, this is really weird.
What do you mean?
Really weird.
You think it's
Like-
weird? It just looks
What's
like
weird?
somebody's pictures.
What's weird?
Oh, everybody can see this, right?
Yeah, yeah, you're not the only one who's
Oh, I thought I was
sneaking a
special.
peek.
Darn.
I don't understand what's going on.
Was it
Well-
soccer or lacrosse? Was it soccer game?
Across.
Oh yeah, that
Across.
was. That's my portrait. It was one of my portrait commissions a couple years ago.
Oh.
Oh, because
Nice.
I did the desktop share.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's little Frankie. He's like a senior in high school now.
So cute.
I did not do a very good job at that painting. It
I
was-
like it.
Well, that was the photo shoot was good. Okay, so here's the there's this. I'm just gonna go through this book because the book is a it's like $2,000 or $3,000. I bought it for like $5.
Well,
And it's just a Picasso.
Oh
it's
my
all-
God, that's the
it's all of
lady
these-
I did.
It's all of his bullfighting pictures.
Mm, I love the veil, her veil.
The veil's beautiful. The washes are
Oh,
beautiful.
that's what that is. Okay.
This is a weird one. This is the one I had in the beginning to make fun of it's like a naked family meeting a different family. I don't know.
Looks like Mary and Joseph.
That looks like Picasso in the middle.
It could be. It could be.
So funny.
It could easily be.
Yeah.
There's our another
No beard.
no beard on that one. But similar style hat. and
Wow, he's
there's
looking-
Can you see?
he's also got the strap on there, but it's definitely the hat, definitely the
Yeah,
collar.
he's
Definitely got the bun.
he's
and
looking.
he's got the bun and the
Yeah.
braid.
Oh, those women are amazing.
Yeah, they're really
Oh,
good.
look at this next one. Look at the
I
eyes.
saw a post this morning that they this we did
Oh,
this one.
Trevor.
I
Is this
love
one
that.
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we turned this into a scratch board.
Looks like Cher.
Yeah.
So much like
Yeah.
Cher. Yeah, this really pretty. I mean, look at this mark that he goes here, and then it just squiggles, and then and then it just trickles into like.
Is that a mantilla
Fine,
she's
that's
wearing? She's wearing like a mantilla. I
Oh,
think it's
yeah.
called.
See, I can't tell if these are. I can't tell if these are like nuns or prostitutes.
Oh.
Like, I can't. I think these might. I think these
I
are
didn't.
They
They're
just
not nuns.
Spanish women with tears.
definitely not nuns.
We've got some heavy cleavage going on in that picture.
It's
They're
pretty
there
hefty.
for the
I mean,
bullfight.
heavy.
But there's a young lady with an old lady, and then there's another, you know,
Yeah.
with this theme.
She's saying, back off. It's my daughter.
Oh my God, what a difference between the two women. Whew.
Yeah.
And look how interesting he
And I don't know
portrays.
if she's saying back off. She might be saying here. Please take.
No, she does not look like
Get her
that.
off
She's
my
like, give
hands.
me,
She's
give
too
me my
old.
money
She's gotta-
now.
Someone else is gonna feed her.
Look at the hands, how he depicts, especially the picador or the matador's hand.
Wait, where,
like
where
this-
are the hands?
This pose.
You're
he
on
gets-
his hips.
Just like the elbow
Yeah.
being cocked forward is like he just keeps doing that over and over again. And the hands on the
like
Matches her
strutting.
bosom.
almost like confrontational.
That's the.
Well, it goes, it
Because
sort
the
of
man-
parallels her bosom. It's like the
Oh,
bosom
yeah.
and the
Yeah,
elbow.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
This is the opposite.
Do you
The
see
women
the
are the
hand,
opposite here.
Reenie?
Yeah, right. Right.
Yeah, right. So this is a light figure and a dark older
Right.
person, and then this is a darker figure with a lighter
Mm.
background. Very different vibes to the characters.
One is
What years,
virtuous.
Same
do you
one.
know what years these were, Trevor?
And this one looks like this one is like
Oh.
1960. Could that be real?
Okay.
11/6/60.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
that's
think so.
right.
Oh,
I love that.
oh, it's Cervantes.
And then here's more of those similar
Hmm.
portrait sketches.
So are these a wash or watercolor or what?
It's an ink pen
Ink,
with
looks
ink
like
wash.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
These are like
1960.
These are like late. He was just
Yeah.
cranking these things out. So this is why I was thinking he might have been a picador, because
Yeah.
you know that's the hat, and the bull and the matador does not have. I don't think he wears that. Maybe he wears that hat, but then takes it off before the fight. There's that matador, and then the old and young.
I remember reading about how the older women who, lived through the wars there were so undernourished, and that's why they were so teeny tiny
Oh,
versus the younger women, I think. Probably
Wow.
better fed, better nutrition.
Wow. Yeah.
So that's why you see those little old ladies.
That was a rough
Oh,
go.
interesting.
And even like not only like nutrition wise, but just like spiritually. I mean, when
Oh,
the
yeah.
world's at war, I mean,
Yeah.
it's like yelling at a plant. Like you can give the plant the food, but if you yell at it, it like it doesn't.
Yeah,
versus,
right.
Like singing and being nice to it. It's like the same kind of
Exactly.
deal. Yeah, I haven't even looked through this in this context of that little string. There's some like dancing ladies. That looks like a good time.
Is that a
That looks like the
priest
after
on the
party.
right?
What's that? Yeah. Whoa. Settle down, lady.
What did I just walk into?
Yeah, seriously.
yeah.
She looked like she was doing the gang hand.
See.
Wow, the male figure. Can you go back 1 second?
That's a priest.
No, it was the one right before, I think.
This one?
No, the page just prior to this one. Yeah, that figure on the right is the most realistic, I think, I've seen thus far. No, it's past. It was a fleeting thought.
I don't know. And then
That's okay,
scenes of the
not a
bull.
problem.
The scenes of the bulls are the best. Oh, here's a close up on some of these older lady profiles. Wow. Cool.
Wow.
It's like none of them have teeth.
And
Wow.
This
It's
one
like
is like
evil and
this is like the
goodness.
freakiest one. This is where
This
he's
is
like,
so Picasso though.
That
Yeah.
looks like
Yeah.
that looks like what's his name? Keith. What's his face? The art.
yeah,
The,
what was his
yeah.
name? The New York City.
Yeah.
What the heck
Keith,
is his name? Yes, exactly. And this is the stuff, like Picasso was doing things. He got stuff that no one's really picked up on. I mean, yeah, that guy, I can't remember his name. I feel so bad. But like,
But this looks kind of African too. Picasso was
Picasso thought of it.
influenced.
Oh, that's interesting.
This guy?
Whoa. I was gonna say that Picasso was influenced by African art too, right?
Mhm.
So,
Yeah. Masks.
yeah.
So the matador wears a hat as he enters the
Pairing.
ring. And I don't know if he takes it off
Wow.
or the bull takes it off, but I think
Look
he
at that
does.
one. Look at these faces. That one's incredible.
That's incredible. I like
There's
that.
Cher again.
Hmm.
She's a real, she is a recurring character. The Cher
Looks
like
like,
character.
yeah.
Seems to be.
Look at this one.
Whoa.
Crazy.
Oh, that little one is not.
This looks like a Bacchus, like a pan.
Yeah.
Yes.
And the one on the left is a bit
Picasso.
weird.
Yeah, this is a party I would not want to go to.
Looks like a pig.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, that looks like one of those creepy parties you go to and you never get out.
I don't know.
Sounds like a nightmare.
A nightmare.
There's 103. I actually just looked at we can get it's just called nude figures. That's it.
The door is
Um,
locked behind you.
But those are all the figures, which is wild.
Where's the bull? Oh, there.
Yeah, these are like the very, 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 very
That I love, the wash of the
Oh,
bullfight.
yeah.
yeah. I mean, it just, and this is what, and he really, 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 really knew the
There's
bullfights.
the picador.
Whoa. That's great.
Yeah, these are fabulous.
Yeah.
It was full of energy. You know,
Yes.
the light inside the arena. You know, the order of operations, the mastery of the
The
brush.
people.
You know, the stroke,
Spectators, yeah.
the actual strokes, the mark making. That when
Wow,
you
That's
Wow.
incredible.
Look at that bull.
Ooh,
That is
oh
incredible.
my
Look at this
gosh.
one tail. It's just like a little S, like a.
Did
Yeah,
you
it
use a
feels like
sponge?
it's like it feels like almost like
Oh.
Asian calligraphy,
Yeah.
Japanese
And it reminds me of,
ink drawings.
the tail reminds me of fire.
Hmm.
Is it a brush or a sponge?
I mean, I think it's a brush, but I mean,
I would like to own this.
I don't think Picasso would have any. I don't think he'd have any problems using anything he wanted to. I mean, he played by no
Wow.
rules.
I mean, the one on that you just passed was just magical to me. Yep.
Mm.
Yeah,
So
and this one,
still there.
this is like a moment before the interaction, and then this is the violence of
Yes.
the charge and the spear.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I mean,
The horse is reared
I did
up.
not want, I didn't want to necessarily do this because it is pretty violent. Look at this vignette.
But
This might be the edge of the ring. You know, the edge of the,
yeah,
Yeah.
you know,
the stadium, right,
Stadium,
or
right,
arena.
right.
But isn't the meat from the bull eaten so it's not wasteful?
Well, yeah, I
Or
mean,
is- am I
that's how
thinking
you. I mean, that is like
the
where
opposite?
this is where the tradition of bullfighting came from. It's like if you're gonna eat the bull, you gotta kill it. And these are like super powerful creatures. So that, I mean, but I mean, it's a sport, but it's a okay. And then that was the. Oh no, there's more. This is the one, Stacy, we did in class, in the kids' class.
Yeah, I just love this.
Okay, that's good. So I'm just like, there's that. Look at the,
Picador, yeah.
and you can do
Wow.
this really big. I wonder what size that piece is. Let me look, number 48. My guess is it's not as big as I think it's going to be. Yeah, 14 by 18. So roughly 16 by 20. It's actually 19. Yeah, so pads of 16 by 20 is what most of these look like they are. There's 9 by, there's 8.5 and 11. Okay. so
Yeah,
this
I think of that one.
Not a bad warm up. So the question is, do we want to, did everybody get did you guys get this one? Did this one come through?
Oh,
What, the poem? Yeah, the video.
No, not the video, just like this actual photo of this one.
I did not get that.
I don't think so.
I don't think so. I can go
Okay.
back.
And we might have to do the architecture.
Oh, yes, I got it at 10:16.
Oh, did you send it after we
I
started?
think I sent it
Yeah.
after we started.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I have it too.
I mean, are you guys up for doing this? It's a, let me read, we don't have to even read this. We can read the section as we go, but there's really I started a couple of these pages, and I think where we have to begin is where the letters are. So we have to like build out the block of the letter. And then we're basically making a frame for the words. And this one is really nice because it's basically like 6 different drawings. Well, maybe not even 6 different drawings, maybe like 5 different drawings. And that'll allow me on the Zoom to go in close. And we can draw them
Yeah.
kind of like piecemeal, almost like 6 different studies. So you've got the figure here with the scales. You know, the other figure riding this sword. I'm not exactly sure what's happening in the middle here. That figure looks like it's carrying something. Ooh, he's carrying a bound man. And then you have this finger that's tumbling in the spiral of the
Oh,
snake.
wow.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. There's some it's like some hardcore content here.
Yeah, this is
And I'd like to
nuts.
unpack it. This must be, do you think this is Mars up here?
In the center,
Yeah.
I kept thinking Hercules, but just because of the muscles.
Need to get it better.
This is so serious. I mean, just the placement of each, not placement, I don't know what word I want. Juxtaposition. I'm not saying that word right.
Yeah, I think juxtaposition is the right one. I think that's the right word. And you know, I guess the thing is, I can only figure anything out by by drawing it. So I don't know. Does anybody want to read this one?
It's hard to read.
It is.
Stephanie, who was our last reader?
I don't know.
Oh,
I don't know. I'm having a hard time getting my email, so I can't. Oh, okay. All right, I'll read it.
Yes.
Keep it like that. Keep it like that. Okay. Albion's angel stood beside the stone of night and
Yeah.
what was that? And slew.
No, and saw.
Oh, and saw.
Saw.
And
Oh,
saw. The terror like a
saw.
comet. Yeah. The terror like a comet, or more like the planet Red, that's Mars, that
Yeah.
once unclosed the terrible wandering comets in its sphere. Then Mars, thou wast our center, and the planets flew
Flew around.
flew around. thy crimson desk, so ere the sun was rent from thy red spear. The spectre glowed his horrid length, staining the temple long with beams of blood. By thus a voice came forth and shook the temple.
I feel like we should applaud.
Yeah, really.
So too. I think so too. Crazy
Now,
time.
what does it mean?
I don't know. That's the whole point. I have no freaking clue what this thing means. I mean, somebody has to know. Like, there has to be somebody that can decipher it.
Well,
It
you
might
know
not-
who the writer
it-
is.
It might not be us, though.
Do we have a title?
It's
Um,
America.
This is one of the pages from the poem that I sent, the America a
Oh, from
Prophecy.
William
From the
Blake.
William Blake. Yeah, this is just like one of the pages. And I think this is one of the more obtuse.
So Albion was a giant son of Poseidon,
He was
the Greek
also
god of the sea.
the symbolic representation of England itself. So
Oh.
that's this is him, and that's one of the ones that I had to look up. So it was like a deity, but he was also he represents England in this, and this is actually William Blake. This is Albion.
That did look a little like a woman.
Really?
The head, the hair.
How about
Little
that?
bit.
How about that part?
You know, it does not to me. To me, no.
But, those properties are not necessarily defined gender. All right, so which one do you want to try? Do you want to try the, I mean, I keep wanting to do the one in this top left that has the clouds coming down, but the one that I think might be the most obvious, and I think the one that might be the most manageable and kind of like building confidence could be the snake that spirals down, and the figure that's, and then we've got the flames, and then we got this like crouching figure on that side. So we could like kind of manage the bottom of the picture first and try to kind of like get our bearing on there. And then we can figure out so the thing is, like, I don't know what the specter is. Is the specter the snake?
Oh.
Yeah, maybe.
We'll have to look that one up. Okay, so let me do one thing quickly, and I think this will make everything better. The picture is basically divided. If you break the whole picture down on a center line on the vertical and then a center line on the horizontal, we'll be able to anchor the entire show. So the line that says that once enclosed the terrible wandering comets in its sphere, that is the dominant horizontal. That is the center of the picture. So if you're setting up your drawing, which I am doing over here, I'm going to set up my horizontal, in the very middle of the picture. And then if we're just have our piece of paper, then you can set up your center line on the vertical as well. So it's just getting anchored on the page design. And we don't have to focus too heavily on the content because it's like, we can't kind of crack into it, at least right now. But that's the thing. It's like we're blinded now. Things will become open and will reveal themselves as we go, as we like kind of invest in the document. And I was thank God for the reading of that woman, but like I was reading it and I found it very difficult to read because of the script and because of the print and because of like my lack of like knowledge on every single word and how they're fit together, just because of the style of it and like almost like the spell nature of it. But as I drew it, I actually did a paragraph. And it was actually one of the ones in the very beginning. The handwriting is beautiful, and the letters are in fact drawn, and the sentences are composed almost with a with a thinking of a draftsman's mindset, not necessarily a writer's mindset. It was written in, beautifully, I guess. I mean, I don't know. It's above me. Anyway, so the design of the picture is actually very conventional. So we have this center of the picture here, and then we have the center of the picture this way. So the center of, like, the anchor of the center is the inside of the heel on our figure that's standing on the clouds, that's carrying this bound man up here. I'm just going to call him Mars, because I think it is Mars. And I'm not exactly sure. These could be constellations. So, like, I was thinking that this could be Libra up here. So, like, he may be actually describing, the celestial events that were happening at the time of, this American Revolution. So this could be Libra because of the symbol of the scales. There's this sword on here that the figure is basically holding on to the base, and then also the tip. So, she's almost like riding this sword, or he's riding the sword almost like a broom. And there's this vertical angle this way. So you have these three characters above, and the fact that it is above could mean that they are, they could be, we know there's Mars at least, and we might be able to decode the other ones. They could be comets. Oh, that's what this is. This is remember I said she was like riding? These could be, in fact, comets. How many other comets were there? That once enclosed the terrible wandering comets in the sphere. I think it would make sense that this is symbolically a comet, because there's flames coming off the sword both in the front and the bottom. That's cool. Okay. And then the spiral snake, that shows up in medicine all the time. I'm not exactly sure, but I think it's going to be a relatively easy thing to draw. And since we have the center, it's in the center, and then at the bottom here, these flames are radiating out from, the next dominant horizontal, I would argue, is the actual bottom of the picture. So the bottom of the picture is a plane that is kind of composing, which doesn't happen, honestly, all of the time. So I think it's important to know where the bottom of your picture is going to be too, so that we can then put the base of the tail of the snake. The snake is just going to be a triangle. The tail of the snake is just a triangle. So if I were to roll this out from here, I could put a little dot where I know the tail is going to end, and then I can build my triangle, which is going to be the spiral. I may have made that a little bit too wide. And it's essentially just an ice cream cone, like a really nice, a huge scoop. So here's this circle, which is ultimately going to be the snake, and then it's going to spiral down into the tip down there. Wow, cool. At least the flames on this right side look like they vignette the corner. So they just, these flames occupy a triangle on the base. And then what do you think the other side is? I used this triangle here, and then I used like this little spiky, almost like a little mountain on that side. So I'm trying to lay out my whole rectangle for the page, and I've got the snake, which we'll just call 1. Then we got the flames on this side, which we'll call 2, and then the flames on the left we'll call 3. And it looks as though my setup, and then let's put this guy, he's clearly in a rectangle. So we're going to block him out in this rectangle here. And you could attempt to get the proper height width ratio. So we're carving off our little workspace, the jobs that need to be done. And then I love this. The if you think about justification, if you're like making a page format on your on your computer, the right side of these letters would be right justified. So knowing where that edge is, I think, is going to be important. So you got the right side of the page. And then the left justification for the letters is not based on the page setup. It looks like it's based off of maybe one on the quarter, the knee, the middle of the flames. Ooh, I like that. Okay, so if the flames come, here, we can choose the middle of the flame is going to be this left justification for the body. So we started from the bottom, got the center, this set of flames on the right, set of flames on the left, with this figure, having a rectangle. And now we have to get the left justification relative to that rectangle. And if the middle of the rectangle is here, then the middle of our scales, maybe, it's a quarter. So if the box is here, the center's here, the center of our scales is on 1/4. I love that. So and there's the center, there's the quarter, and then I can run my vertical up this way. So this is going to be my justification line for the lettering, and simultaneously the block for the lettering, and then simultaneously the scales, the center of the scales. We're going to do the bottom of the letters slightly above our ice cream cone. And then there's a second box. There's the letters that are below the center line, and then there's the letters that are above the center line. And I think I made that way too high. So if this is the center here, yeah, they've got to be about equal. And these are just estimations. This has got to be a comet too. The Libra guy's got to be a comet. All right, I'm getting a little bit scared. Not too scared. Ooh, that's nice. Okay. I think I figured it out for us. Okay, let me see if I can do this. So this block here represents where the letters go. And then I did an S curve representing the clouds, a lower S curve. And then I'm going to do a longer S curve for the top of the clouds. I'm not even going to worry about this figure. If I did do anything, you could use like a horizontal line. For this figure that's standing in the middle, I'm going to use an S curve And then for our comet on the right, I'm going to use a diagonal. And that's really it. Because I want to really simplify the elements on the page so that there seems to be a nice balance. I can see the entire page as a whole. So we've got 1, 2, 3. We'll call 4 our crouching figure. We'll do 5 on the letters below, 6 on the letters above the center, and then we'll do Libra 7, Mars 8, and then the comet 9. So I'm actually, how's everybody doing? Is it
Really
hard?
challenging.
Yeah, it is really challenging. We're basically I'm forcing an oversimplification of what is ultimately a very, very complex picture. So if you think about, let's just think about for a second, just so I can make the point. We'll think about the ice cream cone, which is basically the figure and the snake. So the figure is going to have just within the figure itself, it's got a left leg, a right leg, a left arm, a right arm, a head, a body, and a pelvis. So just with that, those are 5 elements. And there's actually multiple elements within each one of those components. And then you have the snake, which is a spiral, which is another component. And then you have the descending spiral leading into the tail, which I'll just call it's a one thing. So just in this one figure that's in the center, which we're going to draw first, there's, arguably, 10, 15 things that need to be drawn within one. So if you take, and we'll assume each figure has the similar amount. So we have essentially 10 items. 10 times 15 is 150 things that we're going to need to draw. And I'm trying to boil down all of that complexity into just, 10 things or, 9 things. I guess you could. You could say that the cloud is different than, the figure, but, and even the letters themselves are going to be a whole nother area. I had this theory. I wonder if the third is an important. So I just folded my paper into thirds, so we could see it. So I'll be able to zoom in on each one of the component parts. Wasn't even a straight third. That's okay. All right, so in order to start the initial phase that we can build a little bit of confidence here, as long as we have where the bottom of your picture is, where the center of your picture is on the vertical, and that there's the center on the horizontal, which is that first line of the second paragraph after red planet. I think what we need to do is we'll just draw our first composition, which will be everything below the letters, everything below the letters. And I think also, unfortunately, fortunately, there is a colored version that Blake did. but we might have to dig into that a little bit later. This one is, better for the drawing. And I think I might have been attracted too because we have this black snake, this black gardener snake that's living in our stairs. And we see him all weekend long, and he's so beautiful, but he's also a snake. So this will probably help. All right, I know where everything. I know that like I don't need to see the rest of my picture because I've blocked out all of the component parts, which is really kind of nice. Oh, so let me make sure. Oh yeah, we're good. So let's do this one. Are you guys with me?
Yep.
Let's do it. All right, we've got the head. We'll use an oval for the head. And this snake is interesting because the neck starts out small and thin. And then it almost like a formal C, it gets wider as it goes to the right. So I did the inside loop that's attached to his neck. I'm going to do the outside loop. And I think that we're going to be able to see perhaps this snake turning. When I say see him turning, I'm looking at the mark making on the inside of the inner loop, and I'm wondering if that is a variation in the scales on the bottom versus the top. I don't know if it's true, but it felt a little different. Snakes are really pretty if you can get over the creepiness.
It's very hard to do.
The initial reaction, yeah, it is a shock. But then I was looking
Is
at
there a color?
I was looking at him and I was like, he reminds me of a kind of a very slow cat. Like he felt very feline to me. He was just looking around, a little stressed, but cautious, but not scared. When you look at the head of the snake, it looks like it looks like the mouth is open. So I think the snake's head comes to a point, like a little bit of an arrow, and then there's a length of the head, and then the base of the skull is rounded, which is always very interesting too. It's the cranium is like kind of bulbous. So he comes to a point, and then the mouth is open. And the only way to show the mouth is open is that you have to show that there's like a little bit of a white space, a light in between the upper lip, the upper jaw, lip, and then the lower lip. And then from there, it looks like the S curve of the split tongue comes out of there. It's hard to see. I mean, you can almost see these diamond shapes, and the only reason I'm saying the diamond shape is because the plates, the scale plates on the top of the snake in my garden is really, really gorgeous. But I'm having a difficulty picking out where the eye might be. There's a little light component here, but I think the eyes are a little bit further, kind of on the side. So unfortunately, I'm not seeing the eyes.
Oh, I think we're looking at the top of its head, right?
Yeah. So this is like, if you were to break the head down into planes, you'd see the top of the head and then the side of the head here. And then, the top comes to a point. So I guess the eyes have to be, the one has to be on the side of the head, And then the other one, you probably wouldn't see, but there could be a little bump for the eyebrow ridge. And then the jaw opens up this way. So side plane of the head, top plane of the head. That's how I'm seeing these blocks. And what I
And
was
it looks
hoping,
like its mouth is open.
its mouth, yeah, I'm drawing it as if the mouth is open. And I'm looking for some kind of system. If you look at the C, I can actually move this over a little bit. Hopefully the light isn't negatively impacted. I'm looking at the C part, the thick part, you know, and the inner loop seems to have a darker line and then a different texture, whereas the outside, it seems like it has these, you know, almost like stripes on the outside. The right side is a thinner line, and then it has these, you know, like a pattern, like a striped pattern, like the camouflage. And then as the ring goes up and under, you know, then the pattern becomes a little bit more obscured, and then I know that there's distinctly different plates on the bottom. They're almost like striped flat, like grips. So this might be a cool time to think about, yes, it's got a left side, yes, it's got a right side. How does that line integrate itself with the body? And as you're doing that shading, I mean, look at the thin part of the neck has, you know, it's almost all dark with a couple spaces, you know, a couple little light dots. And, you know, some of that irregularity could happen because of the printing. My version is a print. So there's this erratic, you know, when you run, you know, the ink on the plate, run it through the press, the way that ink, you know, takes to the paper is different every single time. So you can have like certain intentions, but every print is like a little bit different. It's kind of makes it nice. Like it has like almost like that infinity. So as I'm tracking my pattern as I come up and around, the thicker the snake is, you know, the more defined Blake is able to be with the pattern. It's almost like more telling because he's got more room to work with. And I wanted there to be kind of like a crisscross, like almost like this double helix spiral. I love this pattern when you can, you know, see the arrangement of the plates, how they grow. You know, the scales, that is. When I say the plates, I'm talking about scales. There may be some of that order in the top of the snake. I think we should just like see the snake kind of through to the end. I made my initial ice cream cone very, you know, very thick. So I'm gonna make it a little bit narrower. And we just got to use a little bit of X-ray vision, not a lot of X-ray vision. We're just gonna see how the snake passes through the, you know, the arm of the tumbling figure. And then it's the snake really is in two parts, and it's kind of unnatural. I think the spiral is going to take on a very different, you know, I think there's a different meaning, and I don't know what the meaning is. I'm going to have to, you know, dig into it more. But this is not just a random drawing of a snake. There's a symbolic association with this tubular spiral. So you can almost think about it like a like a parking garage. It starts on the top and then it passes behind, goes lower, comes in the front, hits the the smaller curve, curls under itself, spirals down even further. And we're probably going to get to a point where there's not even a need for the thickness. You can just switch over to pure line. The last, the last two spirals. That's so great. I lucked out with how it ended exactly where I was aiming for. But you know which one, as it spirals down and to the right, so it curls down to the right, that comes in front, and then it curls under itself. And you can use that left side, right side idea, outer loop, inner loop. And the beauty of it is that the counter change only happens once. So the inner loop here on the body becomes the outer loop, and then the outer loop remains the outer loop the entire time. And then the inner loop is the inner loop the entire time. There are other kinds of twists and turns that snakes often do, and it violates, it counter changes and goes back and spirals the other way. But this one is very consistent all the way down, which is really nice. I'm wondering about I'm thinking about the snake. I'm thinking about the how it's kind of spiraling. What was that? Was that Edgar Allan Poe book about this, not the book, but the story of the guy's on a ship and he goes into a huge whirlpool and he ages like 50 years in one day because he's caught in this whirlpool and survives it. There is something about this spiraling motion down that the figure is not in control, and in one way feels bound by the serpent. If anybody else has any interpretations, I would, I think it's part of the fun. We may not know, but contemplating it, I think, is important. And the answer's there. I mean, the answer's out there. I just haven't found it yet. Is everybody ready to try the figure?
I'm not, but I have to take Tucker out anyway, so I'll catch up.
Stace, you want to just hear me do this one part really quickly? I'm going to do the figure in 30 seconds. So just to make life a little bit easier.
Yeah,
We're going to start with a circle head. And then because of the nature of the pose, we only see like shoulder to elbow. So shoulder to elbow is going to be 2 rectangles. And then the real anomaly here, the part that's like very different than normal, is this pose where you're seeing like a tremendous amount of the pectorals. The pectorals are huge in this case. So we're going to basically draw these large blocks for the beginning of the rib cage. And then at the bottom of the rib cage, the bottom of the pectorals, the bottom of the rib cage is actually foreshortened. So we're going to do the head.
Mhm.
We're going to do both arms, and then this massive pec into the bottom of the rib cage. And then from there, we're just going to imagine that he's got Speedos on. So we get the triangle of the Speedos, around the waist, and then, triangulating into the base of the pelvis. Then we're going to have we're going to use a rectangle again. So for this thigh, we get the hip to knee, and then this one's going to go hip to knee. And then fortunately, we get knee to ankle, which is, instead of a rectangle, is going to be a trapezoid. And then we're going to use a trapezoid for the toe. So it is a stick figure, but the question, the part that's hard, the arms are rectangles, head is a circle, The main thing is the angle of the pecs, making this massive chest, and then this very little rib, base of the rib cage, which is also the costal arch. The costal arch is underneath the pecs, and then from there we can then do this Speedo, and then we have the hip to knee, knee to ankle, and then the foot. All of the left side of the foot is all I guess technically it's his right leg, but from knee to ankle is all but lost in the profile. Okay, and then from there, it's just detailing the parts of the anatomy. But that is how this figure is, sits inside of the circle. And I made mine a little bit larger. It's totally fine too. Does the figure's face look like, to you all, does it look like it's in profile? Meaning like forehead to eyes, and then L shape for the nose, and the mouth into the chin.
I don't know. I do not know.
So
Sorry about the barking. I thought I had put this on mute.
that's okay. That's nice. I like the nose. So if I turn this head right side up, the marks I'm using, and I know it's going to be facing I'm going to right side up facing the same direction, just because I think it's going to be helpful, even though it's in reverse. But I do a forehead to the eyes, which is basically an L, and then you do a nose to the bottom of the nose, which is another L, and then you do a philtrum to the mouth, which is another L, lower lip, and then chin. That's as abbreviated as you can get, and then it's just upside down. There is a sternocleidomastoid, this neck that is just indicated with this little S curve, and the hair is all dark. The hair just blends right in with the shadow of the arm, as well as with the shadow of the arm on both sides, and the snake. So it's all one kind of ambiguous shape, but it's not as ambiguous as it might seem. And that's how I'm seeing it. I think that's what's going on. There's a line for the armpit and a line for the biceps. There's a line for the armpit on the right side as well. The pectorals are so big and the base of them are so round, it almost reads as being feminine. But I think it's just because Blake is drawing this figure upside down, and it's a little awkward.
Did he use models or did he just kind of do
He
this?
had a formula for the human,
Uh-huh.
being, and then from my knowledge, he did not use models. And that being said, he drew almost exclusively out of imagination, because he would go into like
Mhm.
he would go into like deep meditation. He would have
Mm.
like visions, ancient visions of
Mm.
He traveled through time. I mean, he drew a portrait of the designer of the Great Pyramid.
Mhm.
His sketchbooks are. I honestly have to take it easy on them. I go back. I never stop, but Blake
Yeah.
is a very, very challenging mind to spend time with.
The snake reminds me of that medical symbol. It's an ancient symbol.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. It's also the Mercury. Mercury mentioned in here? No, I don't think so. Just Mars. There's also the Gaston flag, which is like the "Don't Tread on Me" flag.
Oh, yeah.
I think that might be. So what I mean is, this is probably an ancient symbol too.
Mm.
And used a couple different ways. Yeah, William Blake also always has a very pronounced line in between the calf muscle and the shin.
Mm.
And this lesson could be about Blake's unconventional anatomical expressions. But I mean, he knows that. I mean, there's gluteus maximus here, and then there's the thigh, the hamstrings. That's all you see on that side. And then it goes from the hip, the meat of the thigh, top of the thigh, transitioning into the kneecap. And there's a ridge between the base of the kneecap and the top of the tibia. And then there's a separation between the top of the tibia and the outer shin. That's where that dimple is. So each one of these marks, like Picasso, has a nameable anatomical association. And this is the sartorius, which wraps through the front, dividing the meat of the inner thigh and the top of the outer thigh, knee, and then the knee, the transition from the knee into the tibia, and then the tibia into the calf muscle, and then into the ankle, I believe is all in shadow. So good. The flames should be a pleasant relief from the intensity. And I think that they barely need instruction. Other than the fact that the line goes from thin to thick to thin to thick. And they can be seen in curvilinear enclosures. So the outside swells out, this one swells in. Then the S curves to swell in, and then that swells out, and then swells in. So they when I say enclosures, I mean that this base goes until this point, and then it transitions into this point. I guess you could just make them into, I don't have to subdivide it that much. Just an S curve into another S curve. And I hadn't made the connection, but I think that the nature of the snake's tongue is similar to that of the flames. And then I think the angle of the thigh is a similar angle to the main flame. And then even the way that the S curve of the tail tip expires, it almost begins again with the with the flame. So I'm going to move over just so we can fit, hopefully I can fit both of them on here. Just barely. Looks like my picture might be a little bit more crowded than his. The top of my snake is really kissing the bottom of those letters, and the tip of my flame is hitting the outside. I should probably make it even smaller. Oh, I started it too low. That's what happened. That's okay. So you start from like this very thick snake, and he spirals down into the thinnest of marks, and then the flame edge starts in the thinnest of lines, and as it S curves up to the top, gets thicker. And that is I like that connection. Not particularly profound, but significant. And then it comes to, and if you go up, and then I curving back down, trying to pay particular attention to the line weight, kind of controlling it with my the example of drawing the lines. And I think we may have to do that, again with the, more so with the with the figure than I had thought before. I was kind of drawing the anatomy with the figure, and seeing the flame lines go from thick to thin. I'm kind of going back into the snake and into the figure and seeing some of those shadow shapes, and again seeing some of the lines on the silhouette lines. Whoa. And some of the shapes that are formed by darkening the lines. So small. Should have abbreviated my own drawing because of the scale. I mean, my pencil tip is just doing.
I'm gonna put on my notes, call me if anyone else wants to call this for the future, but I'm gonna get everything nice and glued up, so everything comes apart.
Okay, that's perfect.
That'll make it easy. I can't believe that they went straight to.
Well, the flames are exciting. It went from a thick body to a thin tip, and then this is the third one down is a very long flame tip, and has a thin top and a very thick bottom. So we've talked about theme and variations, and the artist, especially when you're working out of your imagination, it's so easy to fall into the trap of doing the same, being very regular, and you kind of have to force yourself into finding the variation on the theme, even the theme just being the flame. Oh, nice. The last one in the corner is just a single stroke. Doesn't have any two-dimensional shape. It's just single mark. Nice. And when I, oh, that's interesting. Do you remember when Samson took the temple down? The last line on here is, "With the beams of blood and thus the voice come forth and shook the temple." These flames coming up was like that's my interpretation of the flames, was like the rumble of the earth and the ground. But then, with the strength of Samson, and then watching the columns fall, and then the figure going down with them. I don't know if there's any connection at all, but this is, the collapsing of the shaking of the temple is not the collapse of the temple. So I guess it is a little different. So I realized that you won't be able to see my flames on the left side, but at least you'll be able to see you'll see where I'm beginning, and then you'll be able to see me drawing them. So I think that'll work. The other set of flames. Wow.
They're more complex on the left side.
Yeah, Yes, they are. There's like a bulge, almost like there's like layering inside each one of the flames. Yeah, they are.
There's more of them too, it seems.
These two are very much the snake tongues. There's snake tongue on this side and snake tongue on that side. You know, upper, smaller. So the immediate flames are almost like mirror images, and then they start to get, then there's dark flames, light flames, underside, top side. Whoa, crazy. Okay. Concave in, convex out. Swelling in front, convex out, S curving all the way up to it comes close to, really comes close to the figure. The tip of the flame here comes close to our the figure, underneath the scales. Now the second flame is in front of the first flame, and you can see that through the overlapping, not necessarily passage, but slightly longer tip, convex out, concave in, convex out, and then you get the root of this kind of like singular flame. So there's two strands, but they come from the same source. And then it looks as though, so it goes the light flame, then there's a a shaded flame in the middle, and then there's another light flame. So it goes light to dark to light. And the two light flames are almost mirror images of each other. Clones or twins. So I'm going to try and match those. And then the one in the middle will be the separate one. And the one in the middle is closer to the left than the right. Oh, there's two little guys. Oh my goodness. There's two little flames in here. There's this kind of underwave. Oh my gosh. This is quite the I mean, I'm looking at my own drawing. I'm like, if one of my students drew this, I'd be like, yeah, you might need to see someone. It's like, yeah, I had a dream last night. Oh, really? What'd you dream about? Well, it was a serpent. I was tangled up, falling down a spiral abyss. Mhm. I mean, do you think the flames coming from the, coming from the bottom, do you think that's like, is it a hell reference? I mean, I'm not
That's
picking
what I
up,
thought at
I'm not
first.
picking up like a phoenix vibe.
Well, he talks about beams of blood.
Yeah, I mean, it could be, I mean, do you think it could be blood?
Mm,
Like a splash of like blood? It doesn't have the nature of it is so flame-like. It's not,
yeah,
it doesn't feel like fluid.
There's no spatter.
And these flames on the left are fantastic. The progression, the last three are just phenomenal. And it's nice because they're basically 2D. It's shading, but you're just like you're shading controlling the line. And he painted, I mean, these weren't like singular brushstrokes. I mean, he had to paint these in the similar way that we have to draw them. But the way that I mean, he is drawing symbols. He's not drawing people. And that was one of the things that took me a second to get away from, is like, when some letters, like there's like the capital letter A, that we're so connected to the phonetic association that it's like hard to like recognize that it's in fact a symbol, like, just like a cross. Like, yes, it's like the cross is like a lowercase t, but like, no, the cross actually carries way more, meaning than just that phonetic association. And I think that when we look at the figure, we're just see it as we're looking at it as a person, or as like an aspect of nature, rather than a symbol in and of itself. We could do the same thing with the, thinking of the snake too. The snake's presence is not, my garden. One of the things that got me excited about the prospect of doing this project, and I do appreciate you guys sticking with it, because it's very bizarre. I mean, his style is bizarre, the content is bizarre, the meaning is not necessarily that accessible off the bat. I mean, it's emotional. It's not pleasing, but he is, he's undeniably a genius, and had a huge impact, and just like the way that he made it. Anyway, regardless of that, I mean, I do appreciate you guys sticking with it. But one of the things that really that got me wanting to do this at all was the fact that because I can't read very well as it is, and when the letters like this are so irregular, and so drawn, the letters are not written, they're drawn, that I was like, the only way I'm going to really be able to get this content is that if I draw out the letters, draw out the sentences, and then as you draw them, you're kind of like forced to like, consider every letter, consider every word, consider the whole arrangement of the sentence. And so I mean, I think we don't have to necessarily do the whole thing, but I think it would be worth it to do, maybe one line, maybe this bottom, we know where the bottom line is, so we could go up, you can do as much of it as you want, but the last sentence is kind of, it's kind of interesting with the shape of the W, with the beams of blood and this, a voice came forth and shook the temple. So the flames could represent the voice, came forth, so it's like there is a motion and there is a movement, connected with the flames, because they're not really flames and they're not necessarily blood, but it might be sound. I mean, it could be his, and when I think of shaking the temple, I think of seeing vibrations on the ground. So maybe these lower flames could actually be a voice that is doing the shaking. I don't know. I'm just thinking out loud. I gotta keep shutting this off. What is going on? Okay. Whoa. All right.
Trevor, is this the last class, the last drawing class?
Is it? I don't know.
I think there's one more.
Okay, good. Yeah.
Oh, one more. Okay.
I
Oh,
think
good.
June
Okay.
2nd.
Oh, okay.
I wouldn't want to go out with. I wouldn't want to go
The
out with.
third. Yeah, the third. I'm going to head out, but thank you. This was challenging.
Okay.
And I'm not going to show anybody what I did today. Okay.
It was that scary.
Well, it wasn't scary. It was just my right brain failed me again. So, it was good to try, but
Good. I'm glad.
yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Sweet.
So we'll see everybody next week.
I'll have
okay.
something a little bit more upbeat next week.
Okay.
Bye.
Sounds good. Bye, everybody.
All right.
Bye.
Bye. And with the letters, I totally envision him having having a ruler and, like penciling in. I wrote a letter to my nieces the other day, and on my handwriting, it's the same way you would do I was writing the letter with like this, because I have my, I have like my normal angle of my wrist. And I was just writing the letters on an open page, and it was so beautiful. Because my actual hand makes that motion. And I was thinking about, how, when we were writing with handwriting, there would be this, straight line that was straight across, and then you could follow that guideline to write your letters, along there. And he definitely did that. So using a ruler, I don't think would be it's definitely not cheating, because it's clearly what he did. And I was wondering if I could find, if I was like, because when you have, when you're trying to fit your words in a particular space, if you start from left to right, sometimes like where it says shook the temple, like he had to it wouldn't fit on the page, so he had to go down. I don't know. I have these letters that are kind of the words are kind of lined up above, so I don't have to quite worry about that as much because I'm not composing my original. You know, so if I make these pages, if I make these like little subdivisions, I stay relatively close with inside of them.
That's such a good idea.
Yeah. I can't wait to do the ampersand. I can't wait. I mean, all the letters are just really they're you know, it's a combination of cursive and regular, and that my handwriting is actually a combination of cursive and print. And I felt for a long time I was like, that's horrible, but
I think we all do that.
probably. The M is made like a that symbol for. I just sketched it over here. What symbol is that? The M? Okay.
Oh, I think it's horoscope.
Is it like
symbol.
is it Scorpio?
I don't know.
Definitely a horoscope. It is Scorpio. Yep, that's exactly what it is. I don't think he was using that, but and then the S is so interesting. It's got a little tail on it too. I can't tell if he went up with the B or down with the B. I think he probably went down. The theory is that, you know, in traditional handwriting is that you always start at the top. Blood. Ampersand. Ampersands are so hard. I know they're somewhat figure 80. I still haven't mastered an ampersand. And there's no dot on the eyes. I guess there are most of the time. I think that just came from the printing. The E's are so cute. And Maureen ghosted. And fourth. Is that a comma? I think it's a comma. The voice came fourth and shook the temple. Is there a comma in there?
Not really.
Don't see it.
But there wouldn't need to be, is what I'm asking. There's a little dot there. There's dots
Looks like there is one, yeah.
There's little dots everywhere that may or may not. Look at oh, hold on, let me zoom out. Oh, I can just pull up. Look at the rest of the letters. There's like these little look at this, look at this little tree. Like the
Oh,
red
yeah.
planet, there's this like little spiral. And maybe it's a tree. I mean, who knows what that is? And there's this little, well, almost looks like there's a river or grain. Looks like grain. Yeah, and these cloud. I mean, the clouds are going to be so awesome. You know, I'm just looking because the you know, the base of these clouds, you know, frame out the letters. I mean, the letters are framed. You know, from the comet up here to the scales on that side to the wind, the clouds at the top. You know, and then the snake below. So it's a to look at how he's drawing the lines of the clouds and to get the line of the feel of the clouds is going to be awesome. There's like, it's like he's drawing something else. I'm just like looking at these creases in here, and there may be something else. There may be hidden pictures. We were looking at clouds from this Renaissance painting at the Walters, and you know, the clouds were, you know, there were images in the clouds. I mean, clearly, like a swan and. But yeah, this comet is something else. Yeah, shook.
I'm going to have to leave.
Yeah, how's that project going?
Yeah, they're working on it back and forth, in and out. So I've not done very much on mine other than the snake and the flame, half the flame.
Can I have a look?
Yeah, yeah, it's just very,
Oh wow.
very little.
Oh, hold that nice and still, Grace. Let me do
Oh.
that again, please.
Let's just do it. If you have to go, let's just see it. I'm gonna stop the share. Adele, would you mind showing? And we can maybe end like a second early.
Sure.
Grace, could you mind if I just Oops.
Oh, back up.
Yeah, I didn't get to see it before. Yeah, that is a beautiful drawing though.
Yeah.
Oh, you did the scales and you started the clouds. Okay, great. Yeah, the clouds.
Yeah.
Yeah, the line at the bottom of the clouds is going to be much more well defined and thicker. It's not more well defined. It's just the line itself will just be twice as thick as the one above. Same level of definition.
Yeah, that's true.
And I think
Beautiful, Grace.
The figure might do the same thing. I think the bottom of the figure might be a little bit thicker than the top of the figure. Okay, Adele, can I see yours?
Oh, that's lovely. Can you
Wow, look
hold
at
it
this.
maybe an inch away? Yeah. There you go.
So scary.
Beautiful.
That is. It's really nice.
It feels even like, I think it's wider, you know, like if you look at the ratio of the composition on the bottom, it's just yours is wider than his, and it's much more effective.
Yes,
Like
it is.
broader on the base is better. You know, that's just because we have more
Mhm.
to work with.
Very nice.
Cool.
Oh,
Thank you. so
yeah.
much. Thank you. Stacy, yours?
Yeah, I had to leave, as you know, and I got a little stuck, but I did the
Dude, yeah.
thing and then
Cool.
Yeah.
so,
The ratio, the spiral, the triangle, the spiral feels a little more daggery. You know what I mean? Because I think it's
Uh-huh.
longer.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it feels
oh,
that has a power too that is you know, unique, you know, compared to his.
okay, so don't shorten it, leave it.
No, God, no, leave it.
Okay,
Here's the thing, it's like when you see different artists expressing similar ideas, they have a different vibe because it's going through a different person's filter. And it's just, it's not even like it's like something's good or bad. It's just, it's interesting to see how
Different.
it's varied. Yeah. And how
May I
the
see yours again,
subtle
Trevor?
differences, just the very subtle differences go. So that's
Whoa. Can you hold that a little closer to you? And freeze.
Mhm.
Oh my God, I just can't get over that figure.
Yeah,
It's
Yeah.
just,
really.
The whole thing. I mean, the whole thing is. I mean, William Blake is a weirdo, but he's. He's connected to another realm. Very fluidly connected to another realm that
yes.
is. It looks like it's a. Yeah, I'm gonna try to go there.
Yeah, I want to work on this
won't let me
today.
in. They probably won't let me in, but I'll knock on the door at least.
Thank
Okay,
you and goodbye.
bye.
Thank
Thanks.
you, Trevor, so much.
You're welcome. See you guys.
Bye.